Lawrence Jones is a host at The Blaze TV, and he joins us now. So, Lawrence, as I just said, I'm not against conversations about the police or the abuse of power, which I think is real, not just in the police, but anyone who has power tends to abuse it. And I think we should talk about that. What I'm against is people who claim to be journalists making claims they can't back up for the sake of scaring the hell out of their viewers so they'll keep watching. And that's what I see happening on CNN.
Yeah, Tucker, it's one thing to talk about, and thanks for having me, it's one thing to talk about police brutality and talk about criminal justice reform, both issues that I'm passionate about and bringing the community together. But it's another thing to accuse the president of having racist comments. And I think this is something that the left is doing to push their narrative because they know that when they do that, it rouses people's emotions. If you know anything about Donald Trump, he has no respect of a person. I mean, whether you're a woman, Cricket Hillary, Little Marco, he goes after people. He just does. And no matter what race, male or female, that's just his style. It's one thing to say you disagree with his style, but to suggest that he's racist, homophobic, or whatever label they want to put on it, I think it's just being intellectually dishonest.
Well, I think it is too, and I don't even think it's about Trump. I may be the only person in America who's not even that deeply interested in Trump. I'm deeply interested in people saying what they think is true without being shouted down by name callers. And I think that if the president or any other figure is not allowed to give what is a complete within bounds view, don't disrespect the flag, that's not a crazy thing to say. If you can't say that without being called a racist, then I don't think I can either. And I want to jealously guard my right to say what I think is true. Do you see what I mean?
I totally agree. But as I said before, it's one thing to have a conversation of you disagreeing with the president's comments, which I thought the president, he shared the sentiment, of many Americans because a lot of people don't like the flag being disrespected. That's totally reasonable. But I did disagree with the president getting involved in a private business and telling them what to do. That's one argument. But to suggest that it was based on race, that the president came to this conclusion, as I said, is intellectually dishonest. But the problem is that when people make those outrageous claims, it shuts down the debate. And I would encourage people that are on the right that typically go with the left on this issue, that it happens to every Republican, no matter if it was Donald Trump or Marco Rubio or Ted Cruz. This is what they do to all Republicans, all conservative, until you're faced with somebody that looks like me and you can't go around on TV calling me a racist black man.
But if the long-term consequences of it are profound, and if you look at the polling, people increasingly distrust each other, they hate each other, they fear each other, and there are a lot of reasons for it, but this kind of news coverage is one of the reasons. If you're telling people constantly, you are hated, there's a conspiracy against you, you're never going to get a fair shake, the people in power want to kill you, without any evidence. By the way, if there's ever any evidence that the president or anyone else has attitudes like that, I'll be the first to denounce them, and I mean that.
Oh, me too.
But if there's no evidence, you shouldn't say it, right?
Right, and I'm a crazy libertarian, so anytime the government gets out of line, I'm quick to address that. But again, Tucker, if the media truly is interested in having a national conversation, then they would be more responsible with their reporting, because this doesn't help the national conversation. As a matter of fact, Tucker, this keeps people from the table having spirited conversations. I understand people getting angry and upset. People get mad at what I say. But at the end of the day, you can't call every time someone says something that you dislike racist. It shuts down the conversations.
Yeah, I don't think we're dealing with people who want to have a conversation.
Well, they're not rational, and the thing is they need to be held responsible for it. People shouldn't be supporting these organizations if they continue to just spew out hate. They're just as bad as the people that they accuse of being racist.
I'm sorry, I want to say Monique is still sitting here next to me, and she's responding in a way that suggests I want to put her back on TV to respond.
Go ahead.
To you. Monique, I don't think you're sold.
No, I don't think it's convincing at all, because everything that we just heard is the line we hear over and over again in order to not have a voice and a say when racism really is an issue.
So, Monique, does the president not attack all groups of people? Just answer that simple question.
Un momento. The dog whistle has turned into a megaphone.
That's a nice talking point, but you're not answering the question, Monique.
The bulliest of the bulliest pulpits in the
nice talking
world.
Point, Monique.
Right.
And when, I know you're chiming in, but when the president over and over again says things that are reminiscent of the... You know what? The fact that he is an equal opportunity insulter doesn't mean that he doesn't insult people of color. along color lines,
No,
or
it
that
just
he
means he
doesn't
insults
insult
everyone.
And that does not
It's
excuse
not a crime
him.
to be insulted. It's not racist to be insulted.
It is
Can
not
I
an
ask you a question
excuse
that I've been
that
thinking
you
this whole time?
insult
Do you
everyone.
feel, since you're on television, a lot of people are watching you, any responsibility at all to be responsible and fact-based in your comments?
Yes.
Do you have any sense of what you're saying, what effect that has on how people feel about each other? You don't seem to care.
I have a concern that I speak truth and that I speak facts. If the facts that
That's
I
not
speak,
not an
That's an
evidence at all.
opinion.
if the facts that I speak and the analysis, which is opinion, and I'm sure
Right.
everybody who's on
Not
TV
a
right now
fact.
knows that, if my factual analysis is based on truth, then the fact that it may concern you, Tucker, or it may scare you, or it may upset you, really is necessary, because then what I'm
But
sharing
you don't
with
have
you
facts,
is
actually,
what,
and that's
when
and that's
we were
the troubling.
talking
If we were
about-
debating the tax code, I would say, look, we differ. I think your economics are wrong.
Right.
We're talking about something that is based on the America's original sin and that is an open wound to this day.
Yes. And we
I
should
think
talk
on the
about it.
basis of no facts,
But
you were
what-
making it
but
worse.
What was that original sin? The original sin
slavery.
wasn't, yes, but it wasn't the bounds of slavery physically. It was the notion that one
Okay.
race, being whites, is superior
Yeah, I got
to
it.
another. And that's what we're still seeing. We're seeing the once
But you have no
covert
evidence for
turns
that.
into, how can
And
you
yet it
say that
doesn't
there's no
bother
evidence
you
for it when
to
people are
terrify
dying in
people.
the streets
Yeah.
simply because
You can talk
of
about
their
that
color?
without calling
All
That
everybody
is
We're going
racist.
to.
That's
okay, I'm
racism.
sorry. Unfortunately, we're out of time.
Thanks,
I'm
Tucker.
enjoying this. Monique, thank you. Lawrence,
Thank you again.